Hi and welcome to this week's Wu Wei Wisdom Life Lessons teaching. It's great to be back with you all. Now, do you feel disconnected from your true self or your day-to-day reality? Well, in this teaching, we're going to be looking at what causes this disconnect and how you can become much more grounded in life. Okay, David, so how does this disconnect from the self or your day-to-day reality manifest? What do your clients come to you and describe as their issues?
I think the main thing that they would say, Alex, is they're never happy. It's like I always picture the donkey and the carrot. They're always striving. They're always trying to reach something. They're always trying to get other people's approval. They're trying to get praise. They're trying to get strokes. They're trying to get that validation. And so it's never enough. It can never be enough. So they're always on a hamster's treadmill. They're always racing. And so they're never satisfied. They're never grounded. They're always looking for the next stroke and approval and validation.
And David, is that because it's almost like we have a void, an emptiness, which is the disconnect? And so it's like we think if we can backfill the void with praise and positive approval and achievements and I guess general busyness as well in our life, that somehow it's going to fill the void and all of a sudden we'll feel better.
Well, it is what you said, but I think the teaching goes much deeper than that, because I think this is a spiritual teaching. And by spirituality, I do not mean supernatural, something outside of yourself. I'm talking about what I call Shen, S-H-E-N, Shen, your spirituality. And I think right from a child that they've been looking for other people to give them this approval, this validation. But it never comes. It's never enough. It's almost like I often think about it, when you see those high jumpers jumping over the bar. And if you get close to jumping it, then they do is raise the bar. Their expectations are never quite met. They're never quite satisfied. And so my word would be a separation. They create a separation inside of themselves because they're looking externally for something only they can achieve internally. But internally is not enough for them. They want everybody to love them. They want to be put on a pedestal. They want to be adored. They want to walk into a room and everybody say to themselves, "Oh, here comes Alex. Isn't she great? Lord, isn't she wonderful?" They don't want them to say it out loud to them because they wouldn't like that. But they want to think it. They want other people to hold them in very high esteem. And that's what they're trying to manipulate. And they're always disappointed because they're grounding themselves in society's value. And this is the problem. If you ground yourself in society's value, what society is thinking or saying, how way you look, how you dress, what car you drive, where you live, what part of the area you live in. The problem with society's value is it's constantly changing. It's shifting sand. The Taoists call it shifting sand. So you can never be happy because society will change their views. Sometimes in a moment, it'll just change a view. So a lot of my clients will be very grounded in society, looking at what it says on the social media, trying to please them, trying to be held, have lots of friends on social media, be in that groove, to be liked, to have many likes when they do a post.
And so, David, I'm kind of thinking as well that the more we believe that we're going to be nourished and grounded and whole from the external approval, the more we then have to manipulate and perform and accumulate and show status and wealth and achievements and likes and numbers of friends, etc., etc. It's then like we are in an artificial system, and in order for that system to work, we have to move further and further and further away from understanding and being our true, authentic self. We have to perform and pretend to be something that, by and large, we're authentically not that person. And the other issue is we can start doing this performance right from childhood, because it's good to get praise off our parents and strokes and reassurance and hugs and well done of our parents, our grandparents, our teachers. And so we start this system of manipulation of looking externally, even when we're very young. And all the while we miss opportunities for exploring who we truly are, what we truly enjoy doing, what we truly want to enjoy doing, our own natural qualities, because we spend all our time and focus on this performance for the external world.
So I'd agree with everything you said there, Alex, but I would go even further, because that internal world that you're talking about is what I call Shen, your innate worth and value. And what you're doing without realizing, you're putting external worth and value above your worth and value. So you're creating, if you imagine one of those old-fashioned scales, you're creating an imbalance, because you're chasing the mythical idea that there is a utopia. There is a place where you will be validated, where you will be approved of, where people will put you on a pedestal. But that place can never exist. And so this does the disconnect that you spoke about in the opening, that I call the separation, because you're moving towards a kind of an illusion, and you're moving away from who you really are as a spiritual being. And this is why I think it's even more important than what you said, because this is a spiritual teaching. Every child, everyone in the world, no matter where you're born, your culture, your skin color, you have innate value and worth. It's a gift. It's like the crown jewels. It's like a gem of who you are. And you're dismissing that. You're belittling that. You're denying that. You're separating yourself from that, chasing the illusion of this external validation and approval. Even the word validation doesn't make sense. How can someone give you value when innately you already have it? How can somebody take value away from you? It's a spiritual gift. Your value doesn't rise or fall by the car that you drive. Your value is far more innate and inherent and intrinsic than that.
I think, David, a lot of people listening to this would say, yes, I agree with you, but but it's I'm kind of wondering whether it's possible to be my true self, explore and find out who my true self is, and then live through that, where I self-express and live my life, my day-to-day actions, my work, my relationships, through that truth, all the while living in a society that expects us to perform and conform.
But it's down to what you said at the beginning, is where you ground yourself, where you set your roots. And so if you think about it, this society that we're talking about, say social media, they're following somebody who are setting the patterns, setting the trends, setting the fashion. So they're grounded in their roots. They're doing something that's out of the norm. And then the society are like sheep, just following them. And you're more than a sheep. You're more than somebody who follows somebody else's trends and fashions and ideas. You have your own. You have innate value. And so we live in a society, of course, and I'm not saying we ignore that society, but we shouldn't ground ourselves in that society. This is a total misunderstanding, because we should teach our children this. This is so important for children, that you are unique, There is no one in the universe like you, nor will there ever be. Why are you sacrificing that spirituality to follow some faceless jury of what the rest of the herd of the sheep are doing? The Taoists say, walking in fresh snow. Walk your footpaths. Believe in yourself. Be true to yourself. And that's where you ground yourself, in that value and worth of who you really are.
And so in day-to-day reality, what would we be doing to, because it seems like we have to undo patterns of behavior here that we've been performing and conforming for many decades, a lot of us. In day-to-day reality, what can we do? Are there practical things we can do, activities, techniques, things we need to be more mindful of that will help us ground ourselves in our authenticity, our spirituality, whatever term that you're more comfortable with, this truth of who we are, or this process of even self-discovering who we really are? What can we begin to do to move the needle on this?
Well, you mentioned it there. So I think there's 3 steps to this pathway: truth, honesty, and integrity. So you start with yourself. You don't have to tell anyone else. So start with your self-talk, that little chattering voice. And is that truthful? Are you connected? Are you grounded in your truth? What you think about yourself, about your career, about your relationships, is that truthful? Is it honest? And above all, has it integrity? And I used to say, up until about 5, 6, 7 years ago, when people asked, what do you mean by integrity? And I used to say, walk the walk and talk the talk. And I think that's a good explanation of what I mean by integrity. But over the last few years, I've changed it slightly. To get a good idea of integrity, think about the opposite: hypocrisy. Don't say one thing or do one thing and think something else. And this is when you're following trends. That's what you're doing. You're you're being hypocritical. You're following it just because it's the latest trend, the latest haircut, the latest hair color, the latest fashion, the way you should look, what car you should drive, how much money you should be earning. Why don't you really focus and cut out this hypocrisy and be living in your truth, what you're saying to yourself? And if you ground yourself in that truth, then you'll be able to be more discerning. See, I'm not saying cut out. We all live in society. We are society, part of a society, but we can be more discerning what we go along with and what we don't go along with. And I'll repeat again, this is so important for children, because children can get in a group or a gang. And if they haven't got this grounding, they will be carried along in what the gang says or the group says, rather than going, no, I'm not going there. And they say, well, I can't do that because I'm going to be rejected or something. But they have to believe in themselves as that's more important, not to do something that's hypocritical or goes against what they believe to be true and holds integrity. So the answer is Shen, truth, honesty, and integrity. Value yourself and view the world through that lens, not through the shifting sand of society, what society is saying. And
so the way we, I guess, connect to our Shen in day-to-day, because our mind is, a lot of us have got into this habit of a busyness of a mind, of overactivity of the ego, of the comparing, criticizing, of being judgmental of ourselves and other people, making ourselves look busy. We're talking about reconnecting within to that authentic, spiritual Shen part of us. And I guess you would say, and I know you recommend this to a lot of your clients, some form of daily meditative practice to assist with this reconnection to Shen, which then naturally grounds you in your truth.
Well, you've said a couple of things there, Alex, which is really important. You said a habit. We have a habit. But a habit is only a choice that you put on default. You're not questioning what choices you're making. And when we talk about meditation, we're not talking about having to sit for an hour cross-legged at 4 o'clock in the morning. For me, meditation is the process of being focused, of your mind, of connecting to your mind. I recommend to my clients that meditation should be 10, 15 minutes. It can be done when you're walking the dog. It can be done when you're lying in bed. You don't have to do anything special, but it's a time where you connect. You can do it now as you're listening to me. Right now, you could drop your shoulders. Just try that now. Just take all the pressure out of your shoulder blades and become aware of your breathing. So you're still listening to me, but you can be more aware of your breath, and you can relax your body, and you can be more focused, and you can ask yourself, do I value what other people think of me above what I think of me? And that puts you on a journey. Just how long did that take? 30 seconds. And you could just sit quietly. And if you can admit the truth is, at times I do, then you can ask yourself the golden thread process question. Why do I do that? Alex has just mentioned this probably goes back to childhood. This probably goes back to seeking that praise, that strokes from family, from parents, from grandparents, from being the good boy or the good girl, maybe going back to school, maybe being in the in crowd. Lots of my clients would tell me that they wanted desperately to be in the in crowd. And just by breathing now, just relaxing, you can now ask yourself, is that important? Is that where I want to ground myself in my life? And I would suggest to you a much more stable grounding. When I talk about a grounding, it's like an anchor that anchors you. And I would say the best anchor is your truth, your honesty, and your integrity. And you walk your path. And this is Wu Wei, walking your path. Understanding that you already have everything you need, all will ever want. You are an amazing person. You have so many skills. And this is another thing. When you are following other people, following the crowd, you're sacrificing your own skill set. You're sacrificing that uniqueness, that individuality that wants to put you onto a different road, that you can explore your own greatness. This is why this is so important, so vital. And you have to do it so you can teach your children. They can watch you being an individual. They can watch you absolutely blessing and honoring your own individuality. They can be proud of their father or their mother as they walk their individual path. And that's something that they can aspire to, that gives them the education. You don't have to speak that. They can see it happening. This is why it's important for you, and it's important for your partner. It's important for the people in your life that you love. Honor and respect your own spirituality. Respect yourself. Love yourself. And that really is the key. You are awesome. You are awesome. Believe in yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. And I will put a link in the show notes to our Shen teaching playlist if you'd like to learn more about this authentic, spiritual, wise part of who you are and how you can connect to it in your day-to-day life. So do check that out, as well as a link to our guided meditation playlist. David's produced lots of beautiful guided meditations that will help you on this journey too. I really hope you have enjoyed this teaching. Please do let us know, and perhaps share it with someone else who you think it may also help. David works one-to-one with clients all over the world every week via Zoom video call. And if you'd like to learn more about David's consultations, also check out the show notes. And finally, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We produce new long-form teachings every Saturday and midweek short snippets of wisdom. And we would love to share your journey with you. Bye-bye.